What's up guys, my name is Tetos and in this video I will tell you about adaptive warding. What I mean by that is that you should adapt your warding patterns depending on, for example, the enemy team champions, which team is ahead, or your enemy's playstyle. Now before we get started, I'd like to remind you that you can still send me voicemails via speakpipe.com because I'm still collecting comments, questions, whatever you want to send me for my 10,000 subscribers special. So please, if you have the time, send me your voicemails. First, let's take a look at how champion picks can and should affect your warding patterns. As an example, I have a picture of the bottom lane here, and let's say you're playing as support and AD carry versus an enemy, of course support and AD carry as well, with an Shyvana in the jungle. Now, on the blue side, you will usually always ward, for example, the Tri-Brush and, for example, put a ward at the dragon area, maybe another one in the bottom lane brushes, but this is of course a good thing to do against Shyvana. She will probably not be able to lane gank that well, she can't jump across walls without her ultimate, she probably won't flash, so we're good to go. However, many people, they just always ward like this, they never adapt the warding, and this is of course something you should do. Let's switch out the Shyvana, for example, with a Jarvan, and the Jarvan can of course EQ across the wall into the bottom brush, which is not of course something you can see with these wards in the dragon Tri-Brush area and in the bottom lane brushes. So he will sneak in there without you noticing it, and this of course means basically that your wards are useless, wasted gold and wasted pressure, and he will just wait for his cooldown again and then go in. Instead, for example, you could ward the dragon area and of course, for example, the brush near the red bottom lane turret, and this way see any incoming ganks earlier. Of course, now he might loop around the whole way to the Tri-Brush area, and of course you can put a ward there as well because you have 3 charges, but that will help against ganks such as these. Now, there is still of course one vulnerability, or vulnerable spot, I would say, vulnerable, if I can say it, which is a lane gank, because Charon can actually EQ and then ultimate with, which covers a pretty long distance. So you could also think about maybe replacing one of the green wards with a vision ward, with a pink ward, for example the Tri-Brush area, and then put another ward behind the enemy turret. So this will basically allow you to be very safe in the laning phase, and almost makes it impossible for Jarvan to gank. But this just shows how you can adapt, for example, your warding depending on the enemy team champion picks. Let's take a look at a mid lane example now, where you're on the red side playing against an Evelynn jungle. Now Evelynn jungle means she's invisible, and that already tells you that you have to adjust your warding drastically. For example, pink wards are fine, but you only have one chance to put on a pink ward, and if she knows what a pink ward is, she can just loop around. Also, they are visible permanently, so they can be destroyed. Also, regular wards won't spot her invisibility, of course. Now, you could just try to play aggressively or defensively all the time, but instead I would recommend, for example, warding her jungle camps that she clears continuously. For example, raptors or wolves are camps that Evelynn likes to clear, and if she clears them, she becomes visible. For the raptor camp, of course, if she smites it, that will also mean if a ward is there, or if your ward is there, she will lose the raptor buff immediately, and you will know where she is. Tracking the enemy jungle and predicting their movements is very important, especially the higher you get in elo, and something like this can really help you to play more safe. For example, when you spot her in the raptors, because she's clearing them, using smite or not, doesn't matter, you can then, for example, play more safe. And when you know she's not camping you, or when she pops up in another lane, you can then play more aggressively. Now let's take a look at how your own strategy should affect your warding patterns with a top lane example. Now in the top lane, naturally, the most warded places are the Tri-Brush and the River Brush, but if you're getting pushed in, for example, this is a scenario where you want to ward differently. Because if you're getting pushed in constantly, you either will get dove soon, or the enemy team will try to pressure somewhere else, so you have to act accordingly. For once, you can put down a ward in your own Tri-Brush near the turret here, so this will spot incoming dives easier, and then you can prepare, clear the way faster, try to back, teleport somewhere else, for example. Many people still just ward the Tri-Brush or the River Brush, but it might not be the best idea, because let's say you're really pushing the wave into the enemy turret, you're really asserting your dominance, and you're putting a ward in the River Brush, the enemy jungler can still just loop around the Baron pit, or just go through the Tri-Brush area probably, and because of the ward placement and your own position in the lane, you will not be able to back off in time. So instead, you have to think about how you have to adapt your warding to catch the enemy jungler or mid laner or whoever's roaming top lane to back off in time, to not give up unnecessary deaths or kills. Now, this means either you can put the ward further down near the Baron pit, or another tip I can give you is you can also ward, for example, the Krug area or the red buff area, or almost down to the Raptors if you have the time and the pressure. You can also put wards down here so you can see and track the enemy jungler movements easier. Another factor which should influence your warding is also which team is ahead currently in the game. So let's say your own team is ahead and you're running a pick composition, so lots of CC, lots of catch potential. Then you want to ward the enemy team jungle, of course, to get more picks. And of course, if you're ahead, it means probably that the enemy turrets or more enemy turrets have been destroyed, so that opens up the map even more and further. So that allows you to neglect the warding a bit in your own jungle and put more wards into the enemy jungle to snowball from there. But if you are behind, for example, then of course this is not something you want to do, because that means the enemy team will probably have vision and you won't have vision in their jungle, and just going in and warding can be very dangerous. Instead, I would recommend, for example, as a rule of thumb, warding your own jungle entrances. This way you will avoid, or basically will be able to help your own jungler easier if he gets invaded on, or if the enemy team is roaming, for example, or trying to group up in certain areas and trying to basically form this mob or ball of death that roams through the jungle, will be easier to spot, and this way you can prevent more unnecessary deaths. Finally, let's take a look at how the enemy's warding or ward clearing can affect your own warding. Now let's once more say you're in the bottom lane on the red side and you are putting wards into the trap rush area. Enemy team sees this, realizes this, and starts clearing the wards and putting down pink wards in this area. Now you could definitely just walk up there and put wards down there. They will either sweep it or you will sometime be able to destroy it, but for once they might be baiting you to overextend and their enemy jungler or mid laner is already waiting for that to happen. Then they collapse on you and kill you for free. So this is something that you want to avoid, of course, or they will just clear your wards again, and yeah, you won't really be able to do anything because you are getting pushed in, for example, or whatever. So instead I would recommend for you to ward the river area in this way, that you can still see a lot, cover a big area, but it can't be, of course, seen anymore by the vision ward. It can't be cleared anymore that easily. Second example would be, for example, the Dragon Pit or Baron Pit as well works the same way. You usually ward the same way. People like to put down wards near the opening entrance to see the objective and to see any incoming ganks, for example, from the river. But if the enemy always goes there, let's say the support always walks there with his trinket, sweeps it, destroys it, so that's basically a wasted sidestone charge, you can then take that into account and adapt your warding. So don't put it in the same spot all the time, rather move it out of the radius from the trinket. Now for the dragon area, this means that you can either put it up here or down here, and it will probably not get spotted by their trinket usage. Welcome to the end screen. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by leaving a like or a comment. Also, I will work on the 10k sub special, so I will probably make the next Play Like a Pro guide afterwards. Maybe I will still work on a little bit shorter or different videos like this one before making the subscriber special, but I will definitely keep you updated on the situation as always on my Twitter, on Facebook, anywhere. So yes, I think that's it. I hope I didn't forget anything. Of course, this wasn't like a super complete video, but I hope I got my point across. And as always, thanks so much for watching once again. Until next time, bye bye.